Hello, friends. Hope you're well. Um, Hope your days are going well. And yeah, just really appreciate all of you for being here. I'm so thankful to all these incredible people I'm meeting online in my one-on-one sessions. I mentor those of you that might be interested. It's a really powerful process, and it's just been such a rich experience for me to meet such incredible people from all over the world. Um, there's just a space that is held, and a mirror that is offered, and real reflection takes place, and it's an opportunity to be witnessed and to work through the process that you are in and learn to express all that is needed to be expressed. And often there are things that we don't realize need to that are attempting to surface, and so when space is held for these things to surface, then these things come forward, and then real healing happens. And so just so thankful and appreciate all of you for um, checking out my channel, for being interested in these unique subjects. I did a really powerful episode with Jason Brashears of Archaics yesterday, on his archaics.tv channel, so that'll be coming out. I had been canceled on YouTube. I had an episode 19, consciousness, was removed from my channel for talking about medical tyranny, germ theory versus terrain theory stuff. And so we dove into that subject specifically, since it's a censor-free situation on archaics.tv. And then it sounds like I'll be going on there somewhat regularly, which will be great. And then I'll be having Jason on in about a month on my channel again. I've reached out to some other people as well, and hopefully do some roundtables with some like-minded individuals. Looking forward to that. Um, what I didn't get to dive into with Jason yesterday was some of the stories around shamanic healings that I've been associated with and a part of. I had a really powerful teacher and elder in my life that I lived with for many years, who had an aggressive cancer. And for a variety of reasons, he chose to go at healing in a very non-traditional or non-American Medical Association way. And he followed a very powerful protocol, and he was able to successfully heal his body. But it was scary and confronting and intense and uncomfortable, and I was with him for a great deal of that process, and I got to hear his prayers, his intent, his bid to extend his life, to have more time here. And it was really genuine, and he was willing to make the changes needed. And but we'd get up every morning and get out on the land and speak to the plant, the medicine that he would then harvest, and he would make his medicine, back at the house. And it was a very specific state of attention that you are in when you're doing such things. Singing these songs and chanting and praying in a very specific way, it keeps you locked into the purpose, and it helps you understand intent, helps you see and feel energy. And these rituals and traditions have a very powerful effect. Eventually, I think one can reach the state of unbending intent where the ritual is no longer needed. But in order to reach unbending intent, usually tradition and ritual is a very powerful means to cultivate that focus. And then, when you realize that you are not a physical being, that you are made of pure energy, then you start to realize that there's other ways just to perceive your particular situation that would allow you to unbind from disease, to free yourself. Because our bodies are attempting to repair themselves all the time, and that's That's what disease is it's letting you know something is wrong. But it doesn't mean you have to cut it out of you, or all these aggressive ways in which things are done. There's other options, and to be in the presence of people that have these profound healings, um, to to be in the presence of really intense ceremonial healings is of other types, like exorcisms or hooks being removed or implants being removed, soul retrieval work. I've been so fortunate to work with really, really powerful people, and have been around some really, really intense and uncomfortable situations that you learn to develop the resiliency to handle. Um, we do have a realm in which entities and energies attach themselves to homes or people or places, and there are entities of the night that roam the wilderness. I mean, they're there during the day too. It's just very unlikely you're going to become aware of them, except when it's nighttime. Um, we share this world with other beings, and we have ghosts and things, that spirits that get confused, and some of them that are not confused but are still sticking around as helpers. Um, and so it's uncomfortable, I think, for many people to become sensitive and open to these things. And so you go through a stage of spiritual fear, but unfortunately, fear attracts these things, and so then it exacerbates the situation. But eventually, you learn to not be afraid and to not have an emotional reaction. And then, without the emotional reaction, then these things don't, you know, uh, have anything to attach to. But that's a whole process. And so whatever stage one might be at within that situation, it's okay. Um, entities can be removed and all these things, but they might come back if the person isn't living a life that would allow for their vessel to be that clear. So we are strange creatures, and we have strange things happen to us, and this is how we learn. So everything happens for a reason, and we're just all being given these opportunities to become aware of what we're capable of. um, and so trials and tribulations and challenges do occur, and it takes a certain type of courage to really come to understand your role in healing yourself, because nobody can heal you. You have to show up, and you have to be part of the process. And in a shamanic healing, if you have people that are in the circle who do not believe, then it's very unlikely that it will work. So it's about finding the right group of people, the right amount of people, and spirit sets that up. um, and so yeah, it's like if you're all on psychedelics and somebody shows up and they're not on psychedelics, and they're kind of like, they sense that something's strange, and everyone else feels like a discomfort from this person's perception because they're not on the same page. And so kind of everyone's kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? And that's similar in a sense, is that you just want to make sure you're working with people that are solid and that are able to hold space for this process. And in Entering the Circle by Olga Karatiti, there's a really good explanation of this. Highly recommend that book. um, yeah. Also, you know, when because we are energy, there are things that can be presented to us. Um, I've had things show up in my dreams, that I felt something that was given to me and was placed in my field. And I was concerned, like, oh, what happened? And I went to my elder and asked, and not everything that is placed in your field is an implant or a hook or negative. Sometimes these things are gifts. Um, and being able to discern the difference it'll present itself in time. You might not always know at first, and it's okay either way. Like, you're gonna be all right, unless you panic and make it into a bigger deal than it is, which we tend to do, and then that exacerbates the situation, right? So fear is really powerful, but so is courage, and both of them are contagious, and they both spread like wildfire. And it's just a matter of which one we align with. um, you're always going to have, fear is healthy. We want to have, our instincts want to be in place, and we want to know when something's off, and fear is helpful with that. But we also want to make peace with it and find a way to allow it to inform us without it overtaking us. And that's where, the parasympathetic versus the sympathetic, as far as the nervous system resetting, um, there are ways and means in order to heal. And stress and fear are a big part of the reason why people get caught in um, health crisis. Um, there's a lot of things that are really difficult for people to face. We all have holes in our consciousness. We all have areas in which we want to avoid, and we want someone to fix it for us so we don't have to face it. And that's okay. It's natural. We are social creatures. We do seek support and help. And I think, there are real healers out there, people that really know how to hold space and see and guide you as to how to heal yourself. That's what a real healer is, not somebody that takes the power by claiming to have taken or healed you. It's only if you are open and courageous enough to be willing to have healing happen that a shaman could effectively assist you in that process. But often there are shamans out there or healers that take credit. Um, and, and to some degree, if they're really gifted as an exorcist and stuff, then it's not like there isn't credit due. It's just, if you're removing something on someone's behalf and they're not able to do it on their own, then it's likely to come back. And so a very clear person who is doing this work will make sure that the person is really ready for this, and that that they're willing to follow particular protocols to ensure that it doesn't come back. And in that way, it sort of becomes an apprenticeship. That person becomes a student, um, maybe indirectly, but that's one of the most powerful ways to learn, is to have a shaman intervene on your behalf and assist you with reclaiming your vitality, your youthful energy, your power, whatever means and methods. So that I may no longer be associated with traditions and rituals, but I sure as hell learned a lot from being in the midst. I lived with a medicine woman in El Paso, Texas, who was really, really gifted. She could see energy and could tell you what was going on um, with your whole being, your whole, your organs, and could tell you details about things. It was kind of intense. But she worked with people to help them in a variety of really unique ways. And she was very heart-based, and she was really helped me and my wife to recover from our apprenticeships with male shamans and all the different ways in which we were somewhat, um, we deviated from our nature by trying to change who we are to fit into these apprenticeships. And so we lost ourselves. Um, and so the recapitulation is a big deal for us to be able to go back and heal. You know, the past is entrapping, so it's not like you want to hang out and just focus on your past, but you do, with the recapitulation, you have the ability to resolve things that are still going on energetically, that are unresolved, that are um, continuing to affect your current present now. And shamanic friendships or connections or relationships can be have a huge impact on um, your lives, as much as, you know, even like a partner does, because when you are learning from a teacher, you are merging and sharing your luminosity. It's like you become family, and so that bond is really powerful, and it can be really challenging to sort of clear your field and reclaim um, your life and your direction when you've merged or bonded with someone that intensely. So, you know, these energy exchanges are very real and very powerful, and we want to just be honest about how challenging it can be to free yourself from um, other people's energy field, you know. So um, ultimately, you know, time heals. Getting time and space away allows you time to reflect and feel things from a new perspective, because we evolve and get clearer and more mature if we're doing the work, and we start to have, we reach states of acceptance that allows us to really uh, be in a position in which that which needs to surface can surface. And so there are trapped emotions that I and others and everyone typically have, that have yet to fully surface and be released. And we want to hold space for people to have emotional health, because it affects your physical health. Um, Trauma from the past is a means for entities and attachments to latch on. And so when we clear trauma, we're not just, you know, freeing ourselves from that particular situation. We're actually um, beginning the process of becoming a pure energy field again, because our energy fields have all kinds of dynamics going on. You know, a shaman can look at your energy field and point out particular events in your life because they're so strongly imprinted in your blueprint. So yeah, blueprint work, dreaming, you know, as you become more courageous around becoming lucid, then ecstatic experience can move through you more intensely, and through that joy transcends you and transforms your being and gives you an opportunity to release pain that you didn't realize you were carrying. And so with great joy comes great sadness. With the capacity to feel more comes the capacity to become clear about things that you weren't. This clarity leads you to places of being able to make more empowered decisions for yourself, because you've been operating from a particular conditioning in which you limited yourself by telling yourself that things happen only in a certain way. We get to be the architect of this particular dream story that we're experiencing once we realize, you know, how the programming works, and we start to free ourselves. We have this incredible opportunity to make a bid, you know, make a request, speak our intention, align ourselves with purpose. Purpose creates the ability to focus. and learning to focus changes everything. Dreamers learn to go into a state of slumber while paying attention to this particular layer of the onion at the same time. So they're kind of in the in-between place. And it allows from this state to make really unique observations. Um, it's hard because you'll go to sleep if you reach this state. It like puts you out and then you miss out on that. And so it's how people learn to stay awake while doing this work is it's tricky. Some people use caffeine. Once you learn how to do lucid dreaming, it doesn't matter how much caffeine you're on, you can still go into these altered sleep-like slumber states. And the most incredible lucid dreaming happens once you unlock these little tricks, and it's so worth having happen. But if there's fear and discomfort, it's for a reason, and everything happens in divine timing. So just being open and listening to these talks and considering other ways in which you could explore perception, right? So in the Castaneda books, they practice these not doings, where you are freeing yourself from the typical perception through looking at things in different ways, tricking your mind so that the mind lets go and allows perception to expand. And when perception expands, then your creativity and your imagination determine how far you can move your perception, what kind of a range of experience you can have within these altered states. But your dreaming attention will wane, and so shamans save their energy in a variety of ways so that they can have more and more dreaming attention and achieve more and more connection to source through the assemblage point shifts that occur. And if you can keep your perception in an altered state for longer and longer periods of time, then eventually you free yourself from the binding of this particular way in which we typically interact with perception. So it's powerful to have a mentor, somebody that can help you to find non-drug use means and methods to reach altered states of perception, because the power plants or medicines take a toll on your energy body, and we want to find a more sustainable way forward. And there are plenty. There's so many. Just breath work alone, once you understand how powerful it is, you can learn to put yourself into really unique states of perception. And but for some people, it's chanting or singing or dancing. It can be swimming or snowboarding or skydiving or whatever does it for you, right? And it's just a matter of really learning the abstract core of that which does it for you, and then applying that core to other areas in which that could be utilized, right? So just walking can end up being it. The magical passes, just doing one magical pass, in a particular way, it can allow you to move into other layers of the onion and observe other worlds and dimensions that are, not separate from us. They're just inaccessible to us when we've isolated this particular line of intention, right? And so you learn how to let this world dissolve and let other worlds form. It's not your imagination, you're actually crossing thresholds into other layers of attention. And this takes a very specific type of focus and intent. It's not meant to happen any sooner than it is, right? So like, there's no forcing this. You can go about it in a forceful way and it will achieve results, but that could get really tricky, because usually the only reason you'd be trying to force it would be because some sort of desperation is behind that. And so we want to just figure out how things work without necessarily getting too excited here and trying to expedite the process. So, working with this woman in Texas was just a miracle. It was just magical. She's, you know, helped me to learn how to make use of my perception in ways that I had read about in the Castaneda books, but she gave me more practical application. She taught me how to unlock gazing in a way that I didn't realize, like where whatever you're gazing at, you actually place your awareness in it and imagine your body traveling over to that spot. And the more you play with this, the more it starts to feel as if you truly are. You've relocated your being, and you stop trying to track or pay attention to whether it worked or not. You just almost surrender to it entirely, and all kinds of incredible discoveries are made. So for those of you that are more advanced in this, you can place your awareness anywhere you want. You can place your awareness in the earth and hang out with her and get to know her on a really unique level. You could be at a gathering with hundreds of people and place your awareness into the earth and feel the roots, the energetic roots of each person. Or in the forest, you could place your awareness down into the ground and feel the roots of every tree and really tap into the essence of that forest. And from this state of perception, you can communicate with trees much easier. The whole world is aware and paying attention. We're the ones that are fairly unconscious. So when you realize that, when you're in the forest and you realize, wow, I'm being observed by every single being here, like every tree, plant, animal, it's aware that you are there. You're the one talking to yourself. So therefore, you're the one making the noise. They can hear your thoughts. They don't have thoughts. They operate on pure feeling, right? So we're the ones in this realm that talk to ourselves, that maintain an internal dialogue, and that internal dialogue is not natural. It's forced, it's given to us, it was lent to us by a predator that lent us its mind. So it's when you experience fears that are irrational and unreasonable, it's often not yours. It's the fear of the program, realizing that eventually you're going to become aware of it, and it's afraid of that because it doesn't want to be discovered. The more of us that discover what's going on this level, the more benefit it will have to others that are seeking freedom. So in a way, all the people doing lots of power plants, mushrooms, ayahuasca, and psychedelics, the fact that they've loosened their perception and it's less rigid is helpful to me and others. Because the more people that move their base perception away from the limitations of this particular layer, it makes it easier for the rest of us. But there is a risk that one takes with using power plants. These plant allies can be possessive. The relationship can become tricky, and so just follow your heart and find your way. And you know no I don't want to limit anybody. If you're feeling called to push it with psychedelics, that may be for a reason. That may be a really powerful way forward for you. Don't let me or anyone keep you from what is needed within this story. We don't know when each person is going to exit, and how a person spends their time here is personal. So I hope you make full use of your life, and really embrace every feeling, and open yourself up and learn to expand your perception within each experience, and enjoy your time. Find a way to strike a balance so that you're taking care of the things that are needed, the organization that is needed in order for you to have a free life. We want to escape structure in order to be free, but the structure, when used appropriately, creates an opportunity for us to be very free. So organizing your life and taking care of business can make things much more expansive. So the contraction and the expansion are both necessary. But eventually you learn how to do things that would be typically contracting. You can learn how to do them in an expansive way. Um, and that's why the magical passes are designed the way they are, and other shamanic movements that are discovered typically are based on that concept, of learning to open and then close, which is boundaries, right? So energetic boundaries, learning about the nature of energy and how affected we are by other people's attention upon us, and learning how to clear our own field, and let go of what other people, like family members and stuff, are projecting onto us, and clearing our mind so that we can be in the flow state rather than carrying the weight of other people's ideas and thoughts and stuff. And that's a journey in itself, but enjoy the process, and feel free to reach out if any of you that might be interested in one-on-one sessions. It's a really incredible way to connect, and free 30-minute consult just to get an idea of what it's like. So whenever you feel called, by all means. And I look forward to working with you guys, and check in the near future. All right, much love, sending intent. Thank you.